Hello, 8 people. So I am just setting up here. It's going to be, I'll just give it another minute or two to let the link filter through the world. There's a really good chance that, like last time, it just stopped streaming for some random reason. If that's the case, I'll restart a new one and hopefully you can just refresh. And after a minute or so, we'll be back. But in the end, I'll post a recorded stream anyway. So I'm just waiting for Lightroom to finish booting up for me. And let's see, I'm signed in on everything I need to be. Hello. So I'm going to try and leave the YouTube window itself floating so people can start yelling at me if I'm suddenly disconnected. But hopefully that won't happen this time. We'll see. I'm hotspotting to a direct internet connection. And I'm using Chrome this time instead of Safari, which might be a little bit better. Okay. And my Lightroom is taking forever to open. But as I get going, it's going to probably be about 40 to 50 minutes of editing. As I get going, feel free to ask any question. That's the point of the live part of this. That way you can, just jump in while things are fresh with any questions. But, after the first 5 or 6, you'll probably understand exactly how I'm going to edit everything. Be really great if Lightroom would just open now. Force quit. Everyone's best friend. Let's try it again. What's everybody up to? We got 9 people in here. Okay, this is better. Lightroom is opening faster now. Perfect. Okay. So let me start the actual screen recording. New. Check. Good. Okay. Another thing that's funny about this screen recording is I might literally run out of memory to do it because the Retina displays are so crazy high resolution, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay. And then let me switch over to actually sharing my screen. So goodbye. You will no longer see my face. Let's do location window. Let's see how this looks. Great. Huh. It's what I want, but it's still kind of strange that Lightroom automatically blacks out the sides. That seems weird to me, but that's probably ideal. No Sam face. Sorry, Nessa. It's probably ideal because I don't want to give away the presets as I'm using them. Stuff like that would be weird. And I also, want to give incentive for people that are on my Patreon and stuff to have sort of an additional thing. Okay, so right now I've got 77 total images in this. I'm just going to quickly go through the ones that I edited last time in case you didn't see it. I just, everything that was imported was my To Boldly Go preset starting out. And then I just edited from there. So I don't know why there's some buffer time here. Let me make sure I have pre-built. But it's, I would use any of the 5 presets to edit from, but I'm always starting with To Boldly Go these days as a start. So these are all edited. by me. Some are like one-click solutions, other need little tweaks here and there. But let me just jump into where I left off, which was right about here. I've literally not even looked at these since last time. I didn't want to, you know, do something pre do something to them. Like I said, these are all just in the order that they were sent to me. These are all raw files that were images taken from my Patreon backers, and yeah, that's it. So we're just going to dive right in. Um, the biggest thing I look for when I'm editing is just, of course, at least right out of the gate, as to whether or not I'm going to keep the file. It's is it in focus, and is it a relative expression that I want, and is it an exposure that's usable. These days, that's becoming easier and easier. Now, this one, the only thing that I don't like is this air vent. I don't know why. It's just distracting me. I do like this grid, so I'm immediately going to see if I can do a 16 by 9 edit just like that. I think that's a little bit better. Maybe straighten it. I kind of like the only time I'll keep an image kind of crooked is if it does add a little bit of movement, and it does feel sort of like they're dancing in this. So I don't know. I like the crookedness a bit, even though it's normally something I would fix. And right now, this is just my To Boldly Go preset, and I'm just adding some gradients to get some darkening around the edges. There's some blue already over here, some blue green on the left side, so maybe I'll add a gradient with a little bit of color just to bring that out even more. And this looks like a little bit yellowish over here, so just do like a little. Really want to stay light with these kind of changes, and then maybe I'll white balance just a touch warmer, something like that. Whenever I'm pushing and pulling like high dynamic range files like this one, it looks like we lost some in the highlights here. That's a little unfortunate, but not a huge deal. But anytime I'm trying to recover and push and pull files, I always boost my exposure to where their faces look good. And then I work back the highlights from there using gradients. But this, like I said, we've lost some data. So I'm going to try a different preset on this. Let's just go with, let's try Engage. Engage kind of crushes highlights anyway, and it makes everything a bit of a green vibe, which this clearly has going on. So it might be a little bit too much. This might also be really good as a black and white. So let me go black and white with it just to see. Yeah, I think I prefer it as a black and white, actually. And these days, as far as crops go, I'll deliver things straight out of camera, 1 by 1 or 16 by 9. And if that's how I edit it, that's exactly how my clients get it. So this looks really good, this image right out of camera. Just yell at me if there's any questions, or if you suddenly can't hear me or something, please. I don't want to be talking to myself for too long. But yeah, this photo looks really good. Maybe just a little bit of white balance tweaks. My presets weren't really meant to not have to do a white balance tweak. That's the biggest edit that I normally do to my images, but they're meant to not have to play around with much more. Somebody was specifically asking about split toning, and the split toning just adds certain color tones. It kind of overrides white balance a little bit. And each preset that I have, uh, just numbers. Should I try and reinstall the preset? Okay, somebody's asking a question. I'll get back to split toning in a second. The question is, so my preset names got all messed up somehow, just numbers. Should I try to reinstall? They should. I would reinstall. I don't know how or why they're numbered. Um, the normal order is, yeah, it's alphabetical. So I would assume they're still in that way, but I would try reinstalling. 'Cause I don't know what could have gone wrong there. That would be more of a support question with DevLOP, because I don't make the installers, and I don't know the technicals of where they're putting things and why. But it should be easily solved with a reinstall. Another okay, so let me jump back to split toning real quick, because somebody was asking about it. I really don't mess with it much. I keep split toning the way it is for that preset. If it doesn't look right, I'll move to another preset. But all it's doing is masking an overarching kind of color vibe to things. Like this one, I actually like Make It So a little bit better than To Boldly Go. It just kind of pulls back the highlights a bit, kind of evens out their skin tones against the background, and yeah, it's just a different mix of color in the split toning. This is more of like a lime green. So anyway, just add a few more gradients, maybe pull back the highlights a touch. No, I like them where they're at. Done. Okay, this one looks a little heavy in the magenta. It's just raw file is the, as shot. So I'm going to just pull that back. I'm going to try, let's see, set phasers to stun. That really is a great one for cutting through any type of haze. I shoot through stuff a lot, and I shoot with flare a lot. And this one has a little bit of that kind of hazy flare going on, this photo. So set phasers to stun, boom. It really, here, I'll jump back to the import. This is to boldly go, and then with a slight tint adjustment with white balance and set phasers to stun, we're immediately in this much better situation. So yeah, honestly, I wouldn't change it from here. Maybe a little warm gradient in the corner. Love it. Might even try and 16:9 this. I think that's kind of a nice vibe. So I can hear the photographer that took that photo just screaming at me. But okay, let's jump back to, I love the red in the background. So let's see which one can bring that out the best. Again, to boldly go, although this is set phasers to stun. It's a little heavy on the reds, but I think if I just balance a little bit of white balance adjustment, and it's really, really cool. So that's it. I obviously don't need to add gradients because it's got a heavy vignette already. So Josh, let me know if you reinstall right now and if it hopefully fixes your problem. I'm going to do a quick space. Ooh, I'm dropping gigabytes like crazy with this screen recording. Okay, so this one, if you look at it, it's a little magenta, a little pink in their skin tones. So this is where I might try another preset. Let's try and make it so. That helps a bit. But I would also look at the no orange and the no OO orange and the no OO orange toning tools that I have. Yeah, I think just the middle one, no, with two O's, desaturates the kind of crazy orange from the sun setting. And then I might try a little bit of blue, the blue toning. This you have to be tricky with because it does make adjustments to the luminance, the blue luminance slider, which you can see on his shirt can get really out of control. So if it's too much, maybe dial it back or just drag in a gradient and sort of warm that area up a bit so that it's not quite so blue tinted on people's white shirts or wedding dresses. But other than that, maybe I'll just drag in a little darkening on that side. And this is the make it so preset, I believe. Yes, just to give some reference. And I'll post a link to a gallery of all these edits so you people can see the end result. Really cool photo. That's pretty freaking awesome. Let's try. I want to do set phasers to stun again. It really has some crazy contrast and punch to it. And it's going to warm up a little bit of the white balance. It's going to be some gradients, especially from underneath. The most distracting part of this is I love the composition with the railing, but this floor and stuff is pretty distracting. So just darkening that a bit, and then maybe some of the edges to really emphasize that A shape of the fog. And then let's just bring in a little bit of warmth on the top. Dunzo. I love that. Develop that. Oh gosh. All right. So phasers to stun. That really, really pulls back shadows. And so when you've got somebody highlight from window light or something, it creates an instantly isolating type effect. And I think matching that with a little bit of no orange, that's all I need. Done. Set phasers to stun and a one click of no orange. And I'm pretty happy with this. I'll pull back highlights a touch, but I like that. It's cool. I love the color. Instantly thought maybe I should try this as a black and white, but I think the red lips are pretty great. So let's go Gauge. Kind of tones. No, let's do Make It So. I think that's good. Engage I thought would be neat for toning down some of these hot spots on their skin, but I think that actually kind of helps the photo in a way. So that's nice. This one, white balance clearly had this is indoor light. Cameras suck at white balance and indoor light. So obviously we'll have to do a major correction. If I use a major correction, I'll usually use the droplet tool and then just click and drag on whatever is most white or like a gray or black. That can work really, really well. I'm going to use Make It So for this. Yeah, just maybe manually rename them. Yeah, uh, if they're in the order they're in, then it should be pretty straightforward. Alrighty. As long as your settings didn't get overwritten or something. I've never seen my presets switch to numbers or lose their name, so I'm a little concerned that how that happened. I don't know. So that would make it so. Or yeah, that's what that was. Okay, this one. Let's try. Resistance is futile. Nah, too boring. Let's try. Too boldly go. I think that's the one that's going to stick for this. Counter out those magenta skin tones a bit. I continue to touch green, and I'm going to use no orange to help their skin tone. And actually, set phasers to stun would probably be cool for this too. But I do want to keep some of the oh, it's a Windows machine. Yeah, that can be a problem. I do want to keep some of the detail in the shadows because it looks like a really cool industrial space. So I'm gonna not use set phasers to stun. Here we go. All right, moving on. Some more pictures. I'm gonna try to pop on this one a touch. Maybe enough. I like the mirror. Looks like it could be a prism, or it's a. No, it's definitely a prism. Audio cuts out. Oh no. Sorry about that. I don't know why. Okay. And a little bit of no orange. The middle one seems to be the sweet spot most of the time. With the two O's. This is pretty cool windmill. So I really want to see the couple as much as possible. So again, boosting my highlights, then of course, boosting my overall exposure, and then of course my highlights are way out of control. But as long as you're shooting with raw files, you can always work them back. You can work those highlights back. No problem. I'm just gonna leave it on to boldly go. I've gone back and forth on what's my favorite kind of out of the box starting point. So engage, and now it's to boldly go. This will be set phasers to stun. I don't know, but it's funny how your tastes and flavors can change over time. Cool. Let's see if we can pull shadow data. Oh yeah. I wonder what camera this is. Let's look at the. Sure. Okay. Let's get it in. And then I might add a gradient with a splash of color, maybe more blue to counter this this warmth on the other side. That looks pretty cool to me. As in neat, not cold. But that looks pretty magical. I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna do just a dash of no orange. Help their skin tones. Next. Looks pretty good. Right out of the can. Nudge the white balance a little warmer and a little bit more green tint. Most of mine, the white balance adjustment is, of course, temperature, but don't forget about the tint. A lot of times I just need to nudge the tint a little greener here and there, and that's all it takes. So also keep in mind that you're probably seeing a slightly different color than I am on a live feed. Doing a screen share, you don't see the accurate colors. So if things look a little weird, again, refer back to the full gallery I'll post later from how these look in their edits. Yeah, just in case you're like, it looks way desaturated or something. That's probably just the live stream. But as long as you're listening to what I'm saying, that's the most important part. All right, this is cool. A moment. Straighten it just a touch. Nice. The elusive smoke bomb picture when you have no control over where the smoke goes. That's never fun. But it's very satisfying when everything actually works, right? All right, let's see. I don't know what to do with this. It's a little tough with this hotspot here. At least it's not on anybody's face, thankfully. This hotspot is interesting. Mm, let's do set phasers to stun. Yeah, it really bumps the contrast, and I'll just pull the highlights all the way back on that. There we go. And then maybe a gradient in the bottom corner. Gradients really just serve as a means to put your eye across the frame. This one looks like he's got a really reddish skin complexion and he's in indoor light. So I'm instantly going black and white on that and probably 16 by 9 to get that, whatever that box is, out of the upper corner. If I was being really particular, I would edit out this little bar, but it does serve to give some context, that he's in a bathroom. So I'll leave it for now. Cool. This is a weird lens. Looks like a Russian lens with that swirly vibe. Let's go engage and some warmth. Eh, actually, let's go set. No, let's go to Boldly Go. That was fine. That looks great. The composition is a little loose. It's like I don't know really what you're going for, so maybe I would just square it up a bit. Let's just try 1:1. All right, we got 13 people. This is going to break some sort of record. No, let's not do 1:1. Let's just try 16 by 9. I don't know. I guess that kind of works well with the horizontal fencing running behind them. So we'll keep it 16 by 9. And then I'm just going to warm it up a bit more. I'll tell you if I'm using anything other than white balance to make color adjustments. Yeah, and the color adjustments are, most of the way there with all these. I don't get too picky about stuff outside of just white balancing it. All right, I'm going to do make it so for this one. Your skin a little greener, a little warmer. There we go. And cool. And just to talk a little bit more about DevLOP, the big reason why I decided it was a good idea to launch something with them. Oh, here we go. Just tuned in. What's the gradient filter? It's the M key. Yeah, it's just pulling exposure down or adding a hint of color in places. So it's the M as in mom key. It's in the middle of all the tools up in the develop panel. And yeah, I just drag in some darkening, some negative exposure. You can make it changes to any setting you want, but I usually just use the exposure like -1 or something like that. But just to talk a little more, develop. What's so cool about it is, anytime I was thinking about launching presets years ago, or I see other photographers that have launched presets in the past, they launch something that works really well for their expected camera setup, their particular camera, their combination of lenses, what they're used to using. And DevLOP, with the profiles they made, went out of their way to make sure they had color matching as much as humanly possible between all camera brands, any lens combination. And so when I developed and ported over my normal settings using Adobe Standard to the DevLOP profiles, suddenly I can sell these and put them out into the world. And if you shoot with Canon or you shoot with Sony or Fuji, like you still have the right look. It's not totally out of this world because you don't shoot with a Nikon D5 like Sam does. And, any photographer you buy a preset from and it's like the photographer doing it by themselves, like there's no support, there's no back-end support over time as new cameras are put out, as software is changed and upgraded. Develop takes care of all that for you. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And yeah, I just wanted to elaborate a bit. I kind of like this more as a 16 by 9. I'm going to get rid of this little stick because it's just caught my eye and is annoying. Kind of works well as a 16 by 9, but I also sort of like the warmth there. That's kind of neat. Next. All right, let's straighten the heck out of this one. That's straight. Yeah. And let's go make it so. Boop. This is a little tougher. The highlights got to be pulled back some with just the highlight slider. It tinted a little green, a little warmer on the temp. Also, it's gonna work well, 16 by 9, just to add a little bit of a cinematic vibe. This looks pretty great. The light is pretty easy to work with. So I'm going to go set phasers to stun just to add a little bit more of a pop and dynamic, since the light is pretty flat, looks like an overcast day, or maybe the sun just went down. That's cool. And then I'm just going to square up the crop so their bodies are in the middle. And the horizon line is going through the upper third. Awesome. This is cool. I'm going to try black and white here. I don't know. I think that's cool as a black and white. They get a little lost in the background, but I'm just going to keep it that way. I like it. All right, pretty dynamic shot. So I'm going to try engage to that pulls back those highlights pretty well, and I'm going to try the blue toning kit that I have. So add some blues, and then just gradient to the sky. Boom. 14. The crew of 14 people. Oh, we got a ring of fire. That's cool. Can't Photoshop that. Well, I guess technically you could Photoshop anything, but I'm going to do set phasers to stun just to cut through some of that haziness. And also, I use dehaze a lot. I don't think it's on any of my presets except for the black and white, just because I like it does saturation. But I do use it as just a standalone Lightroom tool quite often. Skin tones look pretty good. They're a little magenta, so let's go a little green with it maybe. I'm going to just do a dash of no orange just to neutralize. Just a dash. Cool, same session, same couple. Let's straighten that a bit. So the trees are upright. And then I'm gonna tint out and being nervous. I have to keep checking my, okay, I'm only losing like a gig every 5 minutes for screen recording. Good to know. This is just go, already applied. That's fine. I would deliver it to a client like that, no problem. Okay, sunset backlight. Let's see how much we can push and pull. This is a Nikon file. I don't know if it's just cropped or it's a D750, I think. I don't know for sure. Memorize what camera resolution means what camera. I think it's because I'm cropping it in. It's losing some. I think otherwise this is probably D750. So yeah, let's just start working this. Boop, boop, boop. So we did lose some highlights. So I'm not going to try and recover range, because then you really notice blown highlights. If you can get the highlights bright, so that the separation between when the data is just totally gone and where there is some detail, if you can get bright enough to where that line is blurred, that's usually my goal if I haven't fully retained highlights. And I'll just white balance a little warmer. Next, that's cute. 16 by 9 right out of the gate. I think that's for sure. Go a little lower. Their skin tones are a little whack. So I'm going to, let's start with set phasers. And then just wipe out a little orange and a little cooler. And I like it. Not the best moment in the world, but it's really cool light, and really, I love that there are donuts here. I think let's go make it so. Just ease up on the skin tones a bit, and then here, done. Ooh, it's really nice. Let's just straighten it a dash, and then I think I might keep this at to boldly go. Let's just double check. Everything else looks quickly. Yeah. Let's see. This is too bold to go, and then just a dash of no orange as an adjustment. Might tint the side to be a little more like blue since the skin is so warm. Something like that. Looks cool to me. Wow, it's really desaturated on the YouTube feed. So that's hilarious. These are going to look much more saturated in the full gallery. Goodness. All right, this one I'm going to go one by one. I'll have to look and see if there's like something in the plugin settings to give the screen sharing, more true to life colors to what I'm actually seeing. But you can get the overall concept. And then I want to try set phasers to stun on this sucker. Boldly Go does add some bold, saturated, vibrant colors, but set phasers to stun can have that effect even more if it's appropriate. It just makes it contrasty. You lose a lot of the shadow detail, but that makes things kind of pop in a cool way. So I'm just going to gradient around them a dash. Boop, boop, boop. Oh gosh, we only have 2 more. Any questions? We literally only have 2 more. Let me see where we're at in terms of timeline. Nowhere can I see how long I've been streaming. So, oh well. All right. Up. We've certainly lost this. I guess we have some blue. That's nice. Blue is retained. So I'm gonna work it back. Wow. I wonder what camera this is. We actually retained more highlight data than I thought we would. Just working it back. And let me do a little bit of no orange just to get the mountains to be not so vibrant. A little warmer. Exposure. A little warmer. And good with that. Oh, same couple. I like the vibe here. Let's see. Let's run through the full list here. So this is Make It So. That looks pretty promising. Resistance is futile. Not so interesting. Engage. Looks okay. It's a little soft. 32 minutes. Okay, awesome. To Boldly Go. That looks great as well. And then set phasers to stun. Very dramatic. I think I like either Make It So or To Boldly Go the most. And I'm gonna go with Make It So. And I'm gonna just pull back the sky a bit with some gradients. Maybe pull back the highlight slider just a dash, and then white balance just a nudge, a little greener and a little warmer. And this sort of screams 16 by 9. Let's try it. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's it. Any questions before I unplug? Again, I'll upload the various assets so you can refresh if I went too fast or if you want to repeat section or whatever. And feel free to post in the group, see what people, come up with in terms of questions and everything. But let me stop screen sharing. Here I am again. I'm very sunburned from my long drive today. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, all 14 of you, for tuning in. And yeah, I hope to do more of these. So, how do I use the presets on Canon files? The same. All of these files that I was showing were Canon, Nikon, Fuji. There's no discrimination here. Actually, let me look at all the metadata. So of the 70 images, I had files edited from the Canon Mark II, the Mark III, the Mark IV, the Canon 6D, 70, 70D, and the Canon 1DX Mark II. I had files from the Sony A7, A7R2, the Sony A9, the Sony something 6500. And then Nikon cameras, I had the D4, D4S, D5, D610, D750, D800, and D810. So that is a huge spectrum of cameras, 18 different cameras. And I didn't think about or edit differently at all, other than just my intuitive, I don't know. I mean, it could be just the white balance of your Canon is off in some way. If you use auto white balance, that's how I shoot. But I mean, you just need to white balance them until they look appropriate. like I said, most of the cameras that I edited this whole series with were Canon cameras, and they didn't look unusually orange to me. Not more orange than Nikon stuff. Um, it's just depending on the source material, the source lighting, what the white balance was in camera, and then where you're at with just my main edits. Again, are just straight white balance adjustments and then dialing in exposure. So keep that in mind. If things look way too orange, like just white balance it back. Again, mine weren't developed to be kind of like a one-click solution to where you wouldn't have to touch anything. So yeah, you won't see it on the Patreon page. It'll be emailed to everybody directly. So if you don't get an email from me, or you didn't get one last week with the last series that I did, email me directly. Just send me your DVLOP purchase receipt. Again, I would love to just send the full screen recording to everybody, but I have to make sure that you actually bought the presets, because I don't want to just give it totally away. The people at DevLop wouldn't like it very much. So, all right, everyone, thanks so much. I'm signing off, and have a good night.